Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey Wise with me, Jason, bringing you whiskey review number 13, where we're going to review the Glenlivet Master Distiller Reserve. Now, it's also our first review for 2017 and number one of 250 reviews I'm going to be putting out this year. So we've got a long way to go this year, but we're going to get started with the MDR. Now, that's also the name you can call it for short. So this is something I think I bought back in 2014 or 2015. I've had this one for quite a while, and as you can see, only this much of the bottle has been drunk because I've got too many whiskeys, so I decided let's just all review them, every single one, into a video review, and that way it will benefit everyone. So, I'll go through my style of how I like to review my whiskeys and start off with the age going all the way down to the colouring, and that is, the age on this one is a non-age statement whiskey. In terms of the ABV, it's bottled at 40% ABV, which is states on the back, and the casks they actually use in this one are 3 different casks. Now, I'll show them in front of the screen, just so you can actually see if it does autofocus. It is starting off with a traditional whiskey cask, then it moves into the American oak cask, and then it also has the ex-sherry cask. So you've got 3 different whiskey casks over there, which do give the whiskey its character. In terms of the distillery, it is the Glenlivet distillery, as you can see from probably the front of the actual box and the bottle. The parent company that owns this one are Pernod Ricard. And in terms of the region, it is in Scotland and it is in Speyside, so very well known for, you know, nice fruity, robust flavoured whiskies. Now, the price I actually paid on this bottle was different from what I saw last month when I was flying through Heathrow. I paid $29.99 at Christmas, I think it was in 2015 or maybe 2014. So I got this $29.99 for a litre bottle, and I think when I saw it last, it was $37. So it's around about that price in the airport. If you do see it more expensive, it could be cheaper. Just literally see what you can if you like the whiskey. And also try sampling if you're at the airports, because literally every airport I've flown through recently does also give you samples. Now, in terms of the exclusivity of this whiskey, it was introduced to travel retail to replace the 12-year-old. As in travel retail now, they're replacing all the age statements for non-age statements because they're easier to get out into the market quicker. As age statements, you have to have that minimum amount of years. So this one was to replace the 12-year-old. However, I have now seen it in local whiskey shops all around. So it is travel retail and domestic. So in terms of the colouring in this whiskey, I believe it does have E150A caramel colouring. I'll just hold it up against the actual background, which I'm using. It does look natural for the different casks they use, but because they don't state it on the back of the bottle, I wouldn't be too sure, but I would probably just say they do because Glenlivet, they do have it in most of their whiskies. So we're going to say yes. And in terms of, let's pour us on the dram before I forget. So let's get into the tasting aspect of it. Now, I have actually sampled just a little bit before the review, just to get a little bit more familiar with the actual whiskey. So there it is. In terms of colour, it does have a very, very nice light gold colour to it. And I'll hold it up against the, if you can see that, against the light, so in the background as well. So it does have a very light gold, maybe a slight amber, but I'm going to go say with a pale or light gold to it. So quite a nice colour over there on the whiskey. So it's not too dark. Some whiskies with E150 or caramel colouring can get very, very dark, and you know, straight away initially people think those are the best whiskies, but necessarily they don't have to be. So let's get into the nose now, and I do have a slight bit of a cold, so I'm going to be trying to get through different whiskies. Now, this is actually also part of number 1 of 3 different Master Distiller whiskies in travel retail. So I do have another one which is under the table, and then we'll work our way through them as well. But I've also got some really exclusive whiskies coming up in the next few days, so do stay tuned for those. So onto the nose. Now, you do get a very sweet influence on the nose straight away. I'm picking up that sweet sort of caramel. I don't know if it's actually caramel colouring, but I'm definitely getting a sweeter sort of like brown sugar caramel nose. Straight away, that sweetness and the sherry influence. Getting straight away also the hints of vanilla. So you're getting that bourbon influence from the bourbon cask, American oak, into it. And then I'm also getting a little bit of what is like conference, well, I'd say like white fruits, like conference pears and white or green apples. It's giving you that very, very sort of fruity aroma to it at the end. Yeah, definitely getting the vanilla still back in there. So vanilla and fruits coming in very, very well and notable on the nose. It still has got that very round sweetness that just sort of flicks off at the end. So I don't know, that's quite an interesting, nice sweet fruity aroma on the nose. let's get into the palate and then we'll assess the whiskey. So after keeping it there for a little while, what I did is I kept it in the palate for a little while just to really understand the character behind the whiskey. It does have a light medium body to it. I was going to say it was light initially, but then it developed a little bit, not too much. And straight away you're greeted with a spice, and it's not a heavy spice, it's like a medium to light spice as well. It's just there, a little bit of warmth as well to it. Twitter's going off a little bit at the minute because I did purchase a few bottles today, so you will also see those in upcoming reviews, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, getting back to this review, a little bit of spice is there, and it sort of reminds me a little bit of clove, like a diluted version of clove, and you get also freshness from an apple. I don't know if you guys have ever had a spiced apple, where you get like cloves, you poke it into an apple, and then you sort of like almost, it feels like you bake it actually. That would be the best way, and you get really all the flavours coming in all together, and gives you a little bit of warmth into the palate as well. It's actually really nice on the palate, and for this price of $29.99 I paid for it. Good value on that one for 1 litre. So we're going to go for the second sip, and I'll speed up the little bit of where I'm tasting it. Alright, so now I'm getting what I would say more like pears, a little bit drier, more like, sorry, definitely conference pears. The insides when it's really sort of ripe, so to speak, and you get also a sweetness there. It's like fudge. It's like really interesting there because you had that spice in the beginning, then it goes into like a fruity phase, a little bit of sweetness on the side, and it ends off a little bit dry just at the back. So really, really interesting whiskey over there. Not really any creaminess because it doesn't develop so much, but it does develop just ever so slightly. So quite a nice whiskey on this one. So we're going to assess the finish on this whiskey and then come to our overall conclusion. So just one last sip for the finish and understand the length of this whiskey. So the overall finish of this whiskey gives you a little bit of a citrus note on the end. And it sort of reminds me of grapefruit. The insides of a grapefruit, but not the fruit itself, just like the peel. It gives you a little bitterness and a little bit of a tanginess as well. And then you get that little bit of apples back in, a little bit of pears, and just right at the end, you do get a slight nuttiness, and it's reminding me of having like a mixture of peanuts and hazelnuts, the two mixed together. Quite interesting. I'm just trying another sip. Definitely, it reminds me of hazelnuts. It just reminds me of Nutella, but without the chocolate. Definitely getting that little richness over there right at the end. But the citrus note is very evident, and it is a grapefruit. I wouldn't say it's an orange because it does feel a bit bitter. So overall, this whiskey, in terms of the price point of view, for around about 29 to around about 37 for a litre, it's not bad value for money. I think that's actually really brilliant value for money. You're getting a whole litre for that one. In terms of the whiskey itself, I think it's quite well constructed. It is more to light medium, so it's not going to be too heavy. It doesn't need water. And if you guys are wondering what this is, it's like my gym thing, so with water. A gallon over there, but not going to be using that for the whiskey. Doesn't need water in this whiskey. Very easy drinkable whiskey. So if you're looking for something very simple, maybe for yourself as an everyday whiskey, or maybe even as a gift, then you don't want to stretch too far, I think this is a perfect example of a whiskey that you can do. In terms of rating, got my rating cards in front. I'm going to go with this one. Hopefully it's visible. An 84 out of 100. Because I think it's an everyday whiskey. It's good for value for money. It doesn't push me over the top because it doesn't have so much complexity. But that's my personal style. I prefer really complex, really powerful whiskey. This one is rather simple, and it does the job. So I think that's a good, consistent whiskey, and I highly recommend. If you like that whiskey, by all means try it out. If you have tried it, by all means let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, and let me know what you thought. And in the next review, I'm actually going to have the Solera VAT version, which is going to be in the next video for Thursday. Hopefully you're having a good whiskey Wednesday, or maybe even if you're not watching this on the Wednesday, then hopefully having a good week as well. So I'm going to get ready on the next review. Also, let me know if you have tried that. Follow me on Twitter and on WordPress, which will be in the information box below this video. And I look forward to the next review. So this has been Jason from Whiskey Wise, and I'll catch you all for the next video.